would make us sit,
Yeah.
and now,
No.
You got it? Okay, we'll call the meeting to order.
Hi.
Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mic's on. Okay, are there any additions or corrections to the consent calendar?
Second.
Motion second and call roll.
Commissioners Biggers.
Aye.
Garbers. Aye. York.
Aye.
Carlson.
Aye.
Mayor Lundstrom.
Aye. Mark? Oh,
Oh, okay. All right.
are there any visitors to be heard tonight on a subject that is not on the agenda? Evidently not, so we'll move on to with some old business to take care of. Citywide cleanup. Sarah and Chris came up with a proposal. Go for it.
So Chris and I came up with a plan that we believe, would benefit and would also, not be a burden on the city employees. So we propose, a week, a Monday through Saturday, so that would not include Sunday. The dump would be open 8 to 5, Monday through Saturday of that week. But also would be open from 6 to 8 p.m. Wednesday and Friday of that week. And we're hoping to find some volunteers to help out there so that we don't have to have the employees in overtime down there. The normal things that we would take out there, except for not the appliances or your regular garbage, no tires, no mattresses, no flammable things or explosive things. We've talked about maybe a payment plan for some of those things, and I think it's just makes it cleaner and easier for the employees rather than trying to figure out payments and things of that, to just say, we're not gonna take those things. It's just too much of a burden on our staff. And then because there was a few years back where we had a lot of people from Lenox and Worthing and Inwood coming and taking advantage of our dump days, to have the dump employee or volunteer to take someone's name and address down every time they deliver, just to make sure that we're providing service to our citizens and not just having a lot of people from the other cities coming in. And then that sign up option, we really liked that idea, to sign up if you need assistance, but you'd want to make sure to include your name, date, address, or name, phone number, address, and then the date and the time that you would like the assistance. But all the items must be at the curb already. So, because we had the issue last year where people were being asked to go on to people's properties and try to clean things out and not damage other things and try to pick through stuff, it's just too dangerous to have that happen. So, if someone needs assistance with getting things to the dump, they just have to have it at the curb. So not going into people's homes or into their backyards. And that person would need to be present when the pickup was happening, because we don't want to be taking things from people's yards and then having it be claimed that we took the wrong stuff or whatnot. And of course, the date and time that they suggest would be dependent on if we have volunteers. And then also we would need to sign up for the people who are willing to help, and how they can help. So, are they just manpower? Do they have a trailer? Do they have a pickup? That kind of thing. And just reiterate that we're not gonna go up and down the streets looking for things at the curb, that you'd have to sign up if you need things picked up from your curb. And you have to be present for when that happens, but otherwise you are responsible to get it out to the dump, and it is gonna be open a good length of time that week, so there shouldn't be a lot of issues with getting there.
For example, Lennox is I've seen they're doing a 1-day pass to the city of Sioux Falls. Every citizen's getting a 1-day pass. I didn't check to see what that costed the city of Lennox, But with that being said, I'm nervous that some folks might be like, well, I'll just jump in on Canton. And I know for a fact, Worthing gets involved in our cleanup day, so I think we need to be checking addresses when they come out.
And if it's not a Canton address, we just flat out deny? I mean,
I think we're gonna have to.
yeah,
I think we have to draw a line somewhere.
right, we're eating some costs because this is supposed to be a benefit and service.
To the taxpayers of the city of Canton.
Right.
So a couple questions,
Yep.
if I'm understanding right, we're just taking regular stuff we take at the rubble site.
Correct. Building material, shingles, not mattresses, not tires, not flammables,
Not plastic playground sets.
not plastic playground sets.
So everything's gonna be on site, we won't be hauling stuff to Sioux Falls.
Correct.
And then the other question I have is you said Monday through Saturday, Virginia, in the week.
No, we haven't picked a week.
Okay.
That's what we need to talk about.
Okay.
So let's decide in a week.
Clarification on what you'll take, can they bring stuff with compressors if they pay,
Like they regularly do, yeah.
Normal.
if they bring it, they have to pay the fee?
White goods?
Yeah, because there are some items we already
Yeah,
accepted with the
exactly.
fee.
But if there was a fee before, there'd still be a fee. We're not waiving that.
Especially with the compressors, because we pay to have them certified free.
So when is, did we just have the rummage sale weekend?
It was
Are we-
not last weekend, but the weekend before, I think.
Can they start one?
July, sorry, Depot Days?
That's July 19th is Depot Days.
That's the first thing, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Should have done before that.
Okay, so the week after the 4th or the week before the 4th?
Week before is really quick.
That's
Next week.
That's next
Or
week.
even summer.
The 19th is what day of the week,
Saturday.
so it can be done that day.
Be done that day, but we also have the week after the 4th before that.
Yeah, you have the 7th,
7th through the 11th?
the 7th.
Just to get some time frame out there.
Yeah, that's better. Let's push the 7th through
The
the
12th?
12th.
Okay.
It's the week after the 4th, it's the week before Depot Days.
I'll make the motion.
All the above, is that?
Second.
Motion is second.
So let me read the motion to make sure we got it all right. So July 7th through the 12th, hey, that might help. Monday through Saturday, 8 to 5, the rubble site will be open, and 6 to 8 on Wednesdays and Fridays for that week. Only regular rubble site stuff, building materials, et cetera, no tires, no mattresses, name and address of the person. There's a sign-up option for people that need assistance, but they'd have to set a date and a time, and that person has to be present, and we'll also have a sign-up sheet for people who want help. I got it summed up good? I'll keep that just in case.
Now, I'll volunteer for the Wednesday night, 6 to 8.
I'll do Friday. I'll do Friday 16th.
We have a motion and a second.
Oh, you want to call the roll?
Commissioners Garbers,
Aye.
York,
Aye.
Carlson,
Aye.
Biggers.
Aye.
Mayor Lundstrom.
Aye. Okay, so the next thing on old business is the turf quote for the Canton swimming pool. We had talked about that at the July 2nd, or June 2nd meeting. Thornton Flooring had provided a quote, and that was the only one, but since,
We've gotten you 2 more quotes, from one from Kerber Field here in town, and one from Van Hollen over in Sioux Center. Van Hollen is the highest. That one was solicited by ISG, our engineer, And it has a few components in it that I don't think you will find in the other two, such as a concrete apron around the fence, so you don't have to weed eat up against especially against your turf area. So I don't know that if we completely sparse them so that they were apples to apples, I'm not sure what would shake out as the lowest. At the moment, it's curb appeal, or is it Thornton?
Yeah, 44 or 49.
This was 48, 40.
So Thornton's a smidge lower at the moment. All that to say, to get on anybody's schedule is weeks out. And I think at this point, it makes sense to just push it off until fall when the pool's closed, because it would take nearly a week of taking the pool out of commission so that they could be in there. So I think we have time to continue to make sure our quotes are actually comparable to each other, but also Commissioner Carlson, who emailed since the last meeting, wanting to explore a little bit more the wood decking option.
Right, I just think that would be more feasible, for the wood decking option, and honestly, maybe even more comfortable sometimes, because the turf grass isn't the same as regular grass. It can be a little not as comfortable, and I just think the upkeep on maybe some decking would be easier. And then there's even that option of composite decking, I think that's the only issue, is that maybe the temperature sometimes of that would get warmer, but.
Yeah. So, I'll say no action. We'll ask you for no action tonight, so that we can look into. We asked just one local person for a quote on that. Didn't hear back from them, so I'd like to get some quotes on that, and then also make sure these quotes are more comparable. So, just an update then on what we do now.
I agree with that.
So what, someone will make a motion to table this until we're ready?
Motion.
Second,
Call roll.
Commissioners York. Carlson.
aye.
Biggers.
Aye.
Garbers.
Aye.
Mayor Lundstrom.
Aye. Okay, let's move on to new business. We have a new board member for Canton Housing and Redevelopment. Tana Van Bachman is the executive director of the housing board, and she's present to introduce Victoria Anderson as a new resident board member.
Yes. So by our instructions that we have from HUD is that we do have to have a resident board member on the board, and that person's responsibility is to represent the tenants out at Colonial Village as well as the voucher holders. So we have had a sign-up sheet out for probably over 6 months, and Victoria Anderson signed up to be our resident board member. She was the only one, but I think she's very qualified to be a board member. So during all of my digging to figure out how this whole process goes, there is a certificate of appointment that was done. I think Ms. Carlson had sent that to me because I was trying to figure out what all, and I don't know if that's something that has to be done tonight or what that is, because there's no real clear guidance in anything that I've seen in the past that has happened. I've only seen where 2 executive directors ago would come, present the person, and that's it. There's no notes there, and then they would come back and sign ours. So I think with that being said, we would like to have Vicki to be appointed as a commissioner, and then we would also like to engage the commission with us at the housing agency to define how that process is going to be, because I'm trying to put a handbook together, so someday when none of us are here, there's clear guidance in how that will work. But for tonight, I would like Vicki to be appointed.
Motion.
Second.
The motion is second to appoint Vicki. Call roll.
Commissioners Carlson.
Aye.
Biggers.
Aye.
Garbers.
Aye.
York. Mayor Lundstrom.
Aye.
Thank you.
Good deal. Thanks, Vicki.
Thank you.
Next is the mosquito control services. City of Sioux Falls submitted a contract for the 2025 seasonal mosquito control. The Sioux Falls Vector Control Program counts the mosquitoes that are in our traps that we have set. And the count signifies when the city of Canton will spray to control the mosquitoes. And our program focuses on control of the West Nile and not comfort for mosquitoes, so. And our city attorney has reviewed the contract already, so.
Just want to add that this is, pretty typical for all the other communities in the metro. They do literally hand count the mosquitoes.
Yeah.
And they are only looking for the species that carries West Nile. You can be off the charts with other mosquitoes, like the mayor said, that does not trigger a spraying. But once the species that carries West Nile can carry West Nile, once that crosses the threshold, that's when we'll begin spraying.
So, make a motion to accept this contract.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, is there any other questions or anything with this? Give a call roll.
Commissioners Figurs.
Aye.
Garbers.
Aye.
York. Carlson.
Aye.
Mayor Lundstrom.
Next is the fire department roster update. Noah Anderson is a new member on the volunteer fire department and needs to be added to the roster, and the workers' compensation policy. And this requires a motion and a second.
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second. Call roll. You see?
Commissioners Garbers.
Aye.
York. Carlson.
Aye.
Figurs.
Aye.
Mayor Lundstrom.
Aye. Okay, next on the agenda is an adult lap swim fee. Holly Knudsen, who is our pool manager, is looking to have adult lap swim. And that would be Monday and Wednesday mornings from 8 until 9. And the proposed fee for a one-time adult lap swim is $4 per person per time. And a pass for the unlimited adult lap swim is proposed fee of $50. Is there any thoughts on that?
The more they can use the pool, the more the better.
Right.
Exactly.
I think it's great.
Pardon?
I think it's great.
So do you think that someone want to make a motion to accept the fee for this?
I'll motion.
Second.
Call roll.
Commissioners York. Carlson.
Aye.
Figurs.
Aye.
Garbers.
Aye.
Mayor Lundstrom.
Aye. And that concludes everything on the agenda, and we'll have commissioner dialogue now. Chris, do you have anything you'd like to say?
Last year at springtime or maybe shortly after graduation, I talked about the electric scooters. I am going to talk about them again. I feel our intersections are very blind. I drive through this town probably more than anybody. I really truly feel like I do. But I bet I hit 15 to 17 miles an hour through most of the town because you just can't get going that fast in town. Thankfully, because every other intersection's got an electric scooter in it. And I'm telling you this because these kids and adults that are on these things, and I have an experience from last week of a little boy. I was raking the lawn and he turned the corner and biffed it. And I helped him with my shirt. He wanted to go to the swimming pool. So he had his towel and we wrapped him up. So whoever was at the pool with a little bloody kid, I said, they'll have Band-Aids. So I'm just saying, if you have kids that have these electric scooters, remind them that people can't see you. It's just gonna be a matter of time before somebody truly does get hurt. They're so quick. They go from the sidewalks to the opposing side of the street to the opposing side of the street. So they gotta start realizing that they gotta follow the laws. Stop at the stop signs. You know, they gotta either stay on the sidewalk or stay on the street. They can't just go wherever they want. And that's what I'm finding is that these guys are just loose. And it's like, listen, we can't, and it's adults too. I'm not just saying it's kids. I see adults that are flying on these things.
I was gonna bring up the same thing, because I've had a couple, people reach out to me that live near the pool, and they said since the pool's open, they've witnessed almost like 3 kids almost getting nailed by cars, because the kids don't stop at the the crosswalk there, where obviously the cars do, but the cars are thinking that the kids are gonna stop, or whoever is riding them is gonna stop, and they're not, and, they're,
They
I
don't look
think-
either.
yeah,
because
and
I
there's-
live by the corner and those
and-
kids don't look for cars.
and someone told me like the max speed of these is like 35 miles per hour, so they're going like, and some of them are going that fast, is what I'm understanding, which that's
Oh.
really scary to think about.
So,
Encourage helmet use too.
yeah, helmet use,
So,
man, just, I suppose it's that invisible teenage or even younger, that they haven't felt the pain yet. But as an adult driver, it's really scary because you get going and you got sun in your eyes, you got life and all the things, and then here comes a scooter, and it's like, oh, you know, and it's just, and they're so fast, So,
And their engine can be just loud enough, you can be like right beside them, and they don't know that.
Yeah.
They'll dart right in front of you when you're driving side by side.
I almost got hit by one on a bike. Like I was on my bike and the kid just went whew, right in front of me. Thank God my brakes worked. I'm pretty sure I lifted the back end of my bike up, but
Do you have anything to say about this, Corbin?
The only way we can combat this is through city ordinances, and you have to introduce them. So if you want mandatory helmets,
Okay.
put it into ordinance, and we can make it a finable offense, like a parking violation, where it's not all major fine, it's a $5 fine, it's a $15 fine. Stuff like that. Unfortunately, scooters, and I answered a question earlier today, they are not motor vehicles. They don't qualify under a lot of the traffic violations, so.
because that's measured by CCs.
Well, there's multiple ways to measure it, but it's not a motor vehicle. It's an electric scooter by the definition of SDCL is handlebars, 2 wheels under 12 inches in diameter, and it can be propelled either by an electric motor or human propulsion is what it says.
Okay.
So, and they don't have to be registered, they don't have to have insurance, they don't have to have title, they don't have to have any of that stuff.
Sure.
So,
Are they, in your opinion, as it is today, should they be ridden in the street or on the sidewalk?
it's a little of both because, when you ride your bike, we have bicycle paths on major intersections. So I would put that as you follow the same route as a bicycle, which, the unfortunate thing is like you said, it's a majority of kids. So do we want those guys rolling on their scooters on the roadways, on 3rd Street, on 2nd Street, or would we rather have them on the sidewalk? So I think I would rather have them on the sidewalk. A little bit more of a barrier from any sort of traffic. But if there's a bicycle path available, that's kind of what I would do. Even if we maybe looked at marking bicycle paths through the main residential roads, that might be an idea that we look for.
Paint what?
Yeah.
Or towards the pool a little bit. Can you talk into the mic a little bit?
Is that better?
Maybe now that we have a pool, that's obviously our highway, and we're starting to see traffic coming from other side of town getting to the pool, which is wonderful. But let's maybe look at marking it.
Yeah, I mean, the pool's getting used, the parks are getting used, the scooters are getting used throughout town, and they're becoming more and more affordable. So it's more popular than bicycle nowadays. So that's something that we can look at enforcing ordinance wise. The police department is making a brochure that can be sent out through the school email when that starts rolling around. And then we can talk to Travis also about having like informational classes during the school, because the school likes to have him in the classroom. So if he can get in and talk to kids for an hour, each grade and bring that up. But yeah, as far as looking at enforcement wise, information is probably going to be the biggest powerful move we can do.
Would it be beneficial to have, obviously we could put a notice out on, for parents to see on like the city app or, Facebook page or something, but maybe even like the pool could put something out, just like all the different places, just so more people would see it.
Sure.
Just to, probably be good.
What do other towns do?
I have not looked at other towns as far as motorized scooters. The e-bikes are a major issue in T. So they have an informational packet like we're talking about with the motorized scooters. They made a PowerPoint and they put it on their police department, and that's kind of what they went through. So that's where their issue is, where ours is, I mean, they're virtually the same thing. So it's not reinventing the wheel by any means. So we just, like I said, push out the knowledge and try and educate kids.
And the parents too. I
Yeah.
mean, this is why I'm here, is for this.
Can you
I
come
mean,
up and talk?
Yes. Sorry.
Mike's all yours.
Okay.
This is why I came tonight, is about the scooter issue. I didn't get a chance when you asked if there were any visitors to get my hand up. But anyway, I talked to Chris last week after the county commissioners meeting. That last Tuesday night, I was on a phone call by Taco John's, and there went a scooter quite fast right through the intersection. Didn't look for cars or anything. And I'm like, wow. Then I was still on my conference call. Here came that scooter back, only it had 2 more people on it. Lickety split that way, and a car had to put on their brakes to avoid hitting them. I don't know if you guys have ever been to like Punta Cana or the Dominican and seen those 3 and 4 people on those scooters riding around getting hit and in and out of traffic and anything. But that was my question tonight was going to be, what do other towns do and what could we do? And like, would that be a violation, having 3 kids on a scooter? Like,
It's beyond the design for them, so. yeah.
And SDCL does say 1 person, and I've stopped kids that had a scooter and they were pulling a sled with other kids in it. So I mean, it's
So
not.
today you can stop people if they're riding 2 and 3.
Well, I mean, you just stop them and talk to them, you know what I mean?
Right.
Just because.
and I feel like a lot of this has to come from the parents. You know, in order to drive a car, we have to take a class, like the informational packet. We're required to take a class. Not that we could enforce that or anything, but can we talk to the parents or put something out to the parents to talk to their kids and have them make rules? I know I have a cousin that is not thrilled about how fast his daughter's goes, and I think she's like, I'll say 8 or 9, and he tried to actually slow it down so it wouldn't go so fast, but it wasn't feasible. So
And that's kind of why I said maybe put it out in all the places we can, so that
yeah,
like hopefully the parents can see it too, because without the parents being on board with what we're asking, it doesn't really do much good. If the parents are like, I don't care if you wear a helmet and you can go 35, that's,
yeah.
you know,
I just wanted to express my concern about it. I've seen it, and I think you guys have all seen it. So
Well, they cross the highway over by Colonial Village, and you hear brakes squealing because they're coming across this way and that comes across the corner.
Okay, thank you. Maybe we'll look into the ordinance and, okay. Do you have anything, Sarah?
I don't have anything, no.
Jackie? Paul? No, I don't either. So do you have anything, Todd? Andrew?
Not that I can think of.
Okay. Okay, so, we'll go into executive session, codified law 9-34-19 for economic development. And, need a motion?
second,
Okay, Paula?
Commissioners Carlson,
I
Biggers.
Aye.
Garvers.
Aye.
York. And Lundstrom.
Just to clarify, Andrew brought up adding scooters and electric bikes to the bike rodeo as part of the deal, so we can have them on, and then we can push out information during that as well.
Very good.
So,
Very
smart guy
good.
right here.
Smart guy, Andrew.
Boy, he makes the big bucks.
you anticipate any action